Hello and welcome to Wizards, Warriors and Words, a fantasy writing advice podcast. I'm Jed Herne, author of The Thunder Heist, and I'm joined by my co-host, Michael R. Fletcher.
Hey.
Dirk Ashton.
I guess. Like, I don't know.
I'm Dirk, author of the Proudest trilogy.
And last but not least, Rob.
Hi, I'm Rob. You
Hello,
may know
Rob.
me from such books as... what have I written? Never Die. There we go. Never Die.
Fantastic. And this is our 2020 in review episode. So we're going to look back on the year that's been and also what we're planning for next year. So the first question is just what books did each of you guys release this year? Rob, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. I released these books.
The War Eternal trilogy.
Props and everything. So I released the War Eternal trilogy, starting with Along the Razor's Edge, which is my first-person trilogy about a young woman as she becomes known as the Corpse Queen, and brings death and destruction to her enemies because she's a lovely, lovely person. Certainly not a raging bitch.
Not at all.
I released the full trilogy earlier this year.
You did the rapid release strategy, right?
I released book 1 in March, book 2 in April, and book 3 in May. So basically all 3 books came out over the course of 2 months, 60 days or whatever it was. And it was exhausting.
How long? So you had them all written before you released them. I'm thinking about doing that in a future project.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote Along the Razor's Edge at the back end of 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wrote book 2, The Lessons Never Learned, twice in 2017 because they're terrible. And then book 3 in 2018.
Okay.
So I had them all written they were all written and finished for well over a year before I even thought about publishing them.
But you were still releasing 2 books a year, even when you were doing that.
Yes, I was. I had a bit of a backlog built up because of the debacle I had with my indie publisher, who shall not be mentioned. So basically, I'd still been writing and they'd been delaying stuff. So I had a bit of a backlog built up, which is how I managed to do that. But these days, I've just sort of hammered it out. So I'm writing about 2 books a year. So I can then release 2 books a year.
Sweet. Dirk, which books did you have coming out this year?
I'm more on the 1 book every 2 years level now. But this year was the release of The War of Gods. There it is. Oh, then it's over there. Mike's got it too. The 3rd book in the Proudest trilogy, and by far the longest of the 3.
It is pretty sick. Rob is holding it up now. It's like, I don't know how you would compare that in size, but it's
you
decent.
Could kill a zombie with this.
You could kill a zombie with the size of this book. That is accurate. And Mike, what books did you have out this year?
Zombie Dirk with this. Because Dirk has been a zombie.
Yes.
Still is.
So this year I had 2 books out. Blackstone Heart, which is the first book in the Obsidian Path trilogy. Came out in some month, which I can't remember. And then in a different month, which I also can't remember, Ash and Bones. The 2nd book in the City of Sacrifice series that came out too in 2020. So 2 books. I'm pretty good with that. I'm happy.
2 books in 2 different series. I can't believe you're writing in 2 different series at the same time.
I am so fucking dumb. It's
ambitious.
It's stunning how dumb I am. It's a terrible, like,
I don't know how you keep track.
Yeah, it's not good.
What about you, Jed?
Yes, for myself, I also
to?
had 2 books out this year, one of which was The Thunder Heist, and the other one was Across the Broken Stars, which is behind me on this bookshelf, but it's a bit too far for me to reach it and grab it and show it up to the camera. So 2 books out this year. This was sort of the first full year I had having published stuff. My first book came out in September of 2019. So it was, nice to like get some work out there after like 8 years of writing with, not much actual feedback on it from the general public and stuff. Next question. Writing wise, what has been all of your proudest accomplishments this year? So what's been your proudest writing accomplishment in 2020?
Surviving 2020. That's an accomplishment. Even if it's writing, it's just surviving this year.
That I finished that big goddamn book. That thing almost killed me. And having to wrap up all the loose threads and explain the things that had explained monster book. Like I said, it almost killed me. I mean, there was a point when I was editing when I was seriously wondering if I really ever wanted to do this again. But it's all good now. It's all good now, and I'm ready for the next project. But yeah, it's a weird feeling. This is my first trilogy. It's a weird feeling to actually know that it's done. So that's pretty cool.
How many words was the last Proudest book again? Was it 260,000 or so?
It's 230, about 235, 235,000. And, and then, Bryce and Luke come out with their 315,000 word books. So it's like,
to be honest, I've written a 230,000 book and it is exhausting. You start getting to the end and you're just like, oh God, when will it end?
Yeah. Then you have to edit all of that as well, and it multiplies your proofreading.
Oh God, I could not believe how long it took me to go through the editing process with that. And I rewrite, so I go through and fix a lot of the prose as I go. It's more than just editing. And clarify some things, add some things here based on readers' notes and stuff like that. But I mean, still, none of us are getting close. Nobody's getting close to George R.R. Martin's. Aren't some of the Game of Thrones book over 400,000 words? I think.
Yep, I imagine some of them are 2 volumes as well, so 800,000. Yeah. Insane.
It's insane.
Mike, what was your proudest writing accomplishment of 2020?
I don't know. I think the one I had the most fun doing was Norilska Groans, which will probably be out next year. I co-wrote it with Clayton Snyder, author of River of Thieves and The Obsidian Psalm, which is purely that's a mental book.
Child of Nod.
Yeah. So like that, co-writing that, I mean, it started off as me being lazy and being like, I wonder if I can trick somebody into writing half of one of my books for me. And he totally fell for it. But it was really a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun doing that.
Fantastic.
He's a great writer.
Yeah, we got to get him on the podcast one time. We were very close to getting him on once, but we had some scheduling things that came up at the last minute. So hopefully in the future we can revisit that.
Yep.
What was each of your most effective marketing tactics for this last year?
Paid ads.
Paid ads. Amazon or Facebook? Or both?
Yeah.
Facebook and Amazon ads, to be honest, has been my most successful tactic. Costs money, but you make money.
Sweet.
I don't advertise at all. No Amazon, no Facebook. So for me, marketing is basically being drunk and weird on social media. It's expensive, but I take one for the team.
That's it.
But that's it. I goof off and people buy books. I'm not sure how that works. I don't even know why.
I know a lot. I hear a puppy. I know a lot of people.
Sorry, can you hear that?
No. Bring her in.
Everybody knows she's there.
Okay. I know a lot of authors who do extremely well just by advertising, and they just aren't really on social media, and they do far better than I do in sales with their books. A lot of it has to do with genre and timing and things like that. And maybe they're written better, but but I'm convinced that that social media presence in groups has been 75 to 90% accounts for 75 to 90% of the awareness of my books, which translates to sales in my case. Partially because they're very odd books, genre-wise, and the way they're written. But yeah, it is definitely worked for me.
I always think there's the sort of like there are two sides of the market of readership. You get the ones who you will reach with critical acclaim, which are things like blogs and social media and the like, and you will reach the people who follow the blogs, who are on social media following authors and participating in groups. But then you have the other side of the readership who you will probably only ever reach with ads, basically, because they don't join the sort of like the reader groups or on social media or follow any critical blogs or anything. So I personally think the combo of the two methods works quite well.
Yep. And I mean, people ask me what my strategy has been. How did I do it? And I just have to say SPFBO.
Yeah.
Being a finalist and placing third in the SPFBO a few years ago, I am absolutely convinced it's the only reason that anyone has ever heard of me and my books. To this day, I don't think that I would have had anywhere near the meager amount of success that I've had without that. So
I don't know. I think your method of getting me to read your book was quite good. Met you in a con and you basically just hit me with a book and went, read it, signed it, now read it.
And also,
I bought him a beer and said, read my book.
Pretty persuasive. Pretty persuasive. I'm sensing a theme here in Dirk and Mike's marketing approaches. Both involve copious amounts of alcohol. Very clever tactics.
Well, I don't consume it myself, but I have no problem supplying it to others.
That's it. And SPFBO, if you're not familiar with that, it's a bit of a tongue twister, is the self-publishing fantasy book off, which is run by Mark Lawrence. It's a competition where 300 odd authors enter their books and there's one winner. And it's really good for publicity and everything. So if you're not familiar with that, definitely check it out.
By the way, Dirk corrected you by saying it blog off, but it made it sound like an insult, like blog off.
Blog off.
Wait, is it blog off? I thought it was book off.
No.
Oh, well, that's why you're the winner, and I didn't make it into the semifinals.
I only took third. I got my ass kicked by Phil Tucker and Jonathan French.
Nah, unlucky. Still top 1%. Can't complain.
I won. I won again.
What's that?
He won.
What's Rob holding up?
This is my Spiffo award.
Oh, nice. Is that the Elder Wand or something?
Yeah.
This is
he won the year after I was. He won the year after.
I read or watched Harry Potter, so I don't know what it is, but it's a wand.
You haven't read Harry Potter?
But look, it's even got a like little signed note by Lawrence.
That's pretty cool.
Ooh, very nice.
But the bigger question here, Rob, is how have you never read Harry Potter? That's insane.
What? Who has anyone here read Harry Potter?
Yes.
Of course.
Oh my
I love
god.
it.
Yeah. Disgusting.
Of
You guys haven't
course
read
I've read Harry Potter.
No, God.
I mean, come on, Jed. You didn't know what Fifth Element was. You are the last person to start throwing stones here.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm shocked you haven't read Harry Potter. It's like the most successful fantasy series of all time.
My sister
came out after we were already old.
Yeah, that's true.
I still loved it. There were a few books in the middle where Harry became a whiny teenager, and all the I'm not telling Dumbledore and Dumbledore's not telling me, and sitting there with their arms crossed, looking around in the rooms, and Harry whining. I honestly wanted to throw a couple of those books through the window a couple times, but I powered through, and I really enjoyed them.
Yeah, I love them.
And I love that
she killed. Series.
I love that she killed almost everyone off at the end. Spoiler.
Yeah, pretty much. Sorry, Rob and Mike, but let's face it, you
Yeah,
weren't
it's-
going to read it anyway. So
No, there was zero chance of that ever
I
happening.
occasionally think about watching them, but I'm like,
I would definitely read them.
Yeah, no, the books, the movies are very good.
All right, next question is
I
what
have
is the? Oh, sorry, what's up?
I have them all the movies and all the books.
Yep, I think I've got all of them
VHS.
just behind me here. I think.
Yeah.
It's not going to make any sense to people who are listening, but I'm pointing to the bookshelf behind it. I do that all the
Doesn't
time.
even
I
make
keep
sense to
forgetting them.
people with video.
Yeah, true. It is pretty blurry and small in the background. What is the most useful writing lessons that each of you have learned in this last year?
You know, for me, I think it was when shit gets really bad and when things get really tough, instead of getting down on yourself,
Keep writing.
just no. Okay, well, no, that's actually not what I did. I fucked off.
Yeah.
I stopped. It was like, everything sucks. Everything I wrote sucked. I hated everything. I couldn't read. So I watched movies and just gave myself permission not to not write for a while, because
take some time off.
fucking there were
And
a couple of months there where it was blue goats.
And he still released 2 books.
Still released 2 books. I'm a fucking machine. I can write a book in 3 months though. So
No, I said that's not the kind of machine I heard you were.
alrighty.
So that's interesting. You said that your biggest lesson is actually like learning how to take that break and refuel that creative well, I guess, so that then you can come back to it. That's interesting.
No, that's not what I said at all.
Isn't it?
But you actually made it sound smart and like something that would probably work. That'd be a good idea. I was plagued with guilt the entire time I wasn't working. It was fucking terrible.
Yeah. I think
I think my best one is just to learn to go with it if you get a good idea. Like, I mean, I had I think it was June or something this year, and I just sort of finished releasing the War Eternal trilogy, and I was feeling pretty burned out from just getting it ready to go and releasing and all that. And then I just had this really weird idea of this story, which was like half horror, half fantasy, a mix between aliens and Band of Brothers and mental. Really, it was just bizarre. And I wrote it, and turns out it's pretty good. It's with my agent now, and it was just an idea that popped into my head, and I was feeling just really burned out, couldn't really concentrate on the book I was supposed to be writing, so I just pushed that one to the side and just wrote this new idea. And it was fresh in my mind at the time, and it was exciting, and go with the idea that you have. If you've got a really strong idea, go with it, write it. You know, you're allowed to take a break even if you're in the middle of writing another book or another trilogy or whatever. You can take a break and write whatever is fresh and exciting and is in the front of your head and needs to be written.
Was that Guns of the 12th?
Yeah.
That was Guns of the 12th, yes.
Awesome. I'm
Good
excited
luck
for
with that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
I hope it goes.
A year or two. It's my my plague novel, being that it was written in 2020 when we're all stuck inside suffering from the plague. So it takes a little bit of the doom that we've all been feeling and puts it into words.
Interesting.
I think the biggest thing that I finally learned and finally got through my head when I was finishing that book and after it was out was to trust myself. Trust that my ideas aren't shit, that my writing isn't entirely shit, and that it's okay to just keep writing because it will be okay. Because constantly it's just, we all do it. I was constantly, is this working? Have I put this reveal in the right place? Is the timing right? Is there any emotional impact with this pacing or the way I've done this? because I'm just, even though I've outlined stuff, I never really know when the right place is to do something, reveal something, say something, bring something up, wrap something up, until I'm writing it, because the dialogue and the emotion and say, and I've learned to trust myself, trust my instinct that, okay, if this feels right, that I'm probably right, that it is okay to put it here. It is okay to do this, to write this, that yes, this scene is important, that this decision of how to portray, the creator gods or whatever, and where to place them and how is okay. That even if some people don't like it, other people's will love it, and I like it. So that was a big deal to me. I mean, I still have those issues, but knowing that I might actually be okay at this, so just keep going, has just been amazing. Actually, it's been, and it looks like did I cut out again?
You did a little bit, but I think it pretty much all got across what you were saying.
Okay.
So it was strategically timed. Yeah, I think for me, like my biggest writing lesson this year was similar to your point, Dirk, about trusting myself more and realizing that I was able to, be a bit more capable of producing bigger word counts than I thought I was perhaps had the capacity for and everything. I keep like an Excel spreadsheet that sort of tracks all of my daily word counts and time spent writing and everything. And I had about a 50% improvement in the word counts this year compared to last year. So even though I was way busier, I think, with work and the day job outside of writing, I was really happy with the fact that I was able to carve out like more time to write amongst all of that. And hopefully that can only continue to improve next year. And hopefully I don't spend the first 3 months of the year writing a book that I'm convinced I'm going to publish in the middle of the year, only to realize, hang on, this needs a couple more years to like gestate before I get to that point. But good to have it in the back pocket anyway. All right, on to books we've read. So the question here is, what is your number one book that you read in 2020?
Ooh, that's so hard.
Hard one.
Number one, I can't pick one.
Cool. You can have a
I
handful.
actually can't. I only read 3 books this year. Two of them are Adrian Tchaikovsky, and this is the best science fiction that I have read in a long time. And 2 stunning books.
You're talking about Children of Time and Children of Ruin? Yep. Children of Ruin is my book as well. That's the one that was my this year.
And also, we had Adrian on the show.
We did 3 times.
Oh, people should go back and watch those episodes.
For Rob.
Thank you for the cross promotion, Rob. Yeah, those episodes with Adrian were amazing, especially after like as with you, Fletch. Like Children of Time, I think is easily my favorite book I've read this year. Something that continues to like have ideas and scientific explorations and philosophy stuff that still I'm turning over in my head, and it just felt so innovative and unique. And Children of Ruin was just as good, if not better. So yeah, I thought those books were amazing as well.
Oh man, it's tough. I'm just gonna pick for Rob. The best book he read this year was War of Gods. And
good move. Power play.
No, look, legit. I was actually going to name this as one of my top 3 books of the year.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I love it, mate. You tied everything up so nicely. It was epic as absolute fuck. It was glorious.
I'm blushing. Thank you.
It really tied the room together. It tied the trilogy together beautifully, man. I loved it. Wow. It was one of my favorite books and also one of the ones that I was looking forward to most. And yeah, you pulled it off.
Well, thank you. That's a huge relief too. I still find it a huge relief when I hear people actually liked it.
I did, man. I thought it was brilliant. So yeah, I was going to pick 3 because I can never pick one. And
yeah, I can't.
One of them.
And this year it's particularly hard for me because the last few months of I've always been good at keeping up with reviews and tracking on Goodreads what I read and when. and this year it's just gone to shit. I am so way behind in posting pictures of books that I've gotten, and I've gotten a lot of books, and I've actually read, I think, more books this year than I've read in a very long time. In a lot of previous years, because I read every day just for an hour or two, and I'm a slow reader, but I have gotten through more books this year. But I don't remember what I read this year and what was the year before, because I haven't been able to keep track. I mean, I loved, Mike Carey's Book of Coley, but I don't remember if I read that this year or the end of last year. Abercrombie's new series, A Little Hatred. I'm reading the second one now. They are amazing, honestly, but I can't remember when I read A Little Hatred. Was it the end of 2019? Was it in 2020? I haven't tracked them.
In your defense, though, 2020 has been going on for 5 years now.
I know, and it's exactly.
Preach.
And I've read, I finally read The Cradle by Will White, which I really enjoyed a lot. The Fall of the Phoenix by Daniel Kelly. I was super surprised. It's kind of an alt historical fall of Troy, Roman or Greek fantasy, alt history, kind of alt story that I really, really enjoyed. Boy, I mean, it's just, I can't quite remember what I read just this year, you know?
Yep, fair enough. Rob, what were the other books you were going to mention?
I've got props. Hang on.
Nice. Rob is prepared.
The other ones I was going to mention is there's the Jade War by Fonderly. I'm a bit like Dirk. I think I read Jade City, the first book in the series, like last year, but I definitely read this one this year and absolutely loved it. Like I've rarely read a book where the characters felt so real, felt like actual people. They were just, there's something about the way that Fonderly writes where they just feel so damned real. And it also has such a weird, unique setting where it's kind of like almost 1950s, but with the sort of technology, but then it's very sort of Asian influenced setting as well. It's crazy. It's like Godfather with superpowers. Brilliant. Another one I was actually going to mention is not this book in particular, this series, The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne. I've read the entire quadrilogy, all 4 books of them this year. And it was a weird one because like while I rated each book 4 stars individually, as a collective whole, I think the series has some of the best character development I have ever read in a series. It is a true masterclass in just character development and following these characters throughout a journey. It was absolutely spectacular. So yeah, I was going to mention that entire series. And although I don't have a book, I'm going to go for a 4th. I don't have a book of it because I listened to it on audiobook. I also want to mention Harrow the Ninth because I fucking love that series. Tamsin Muir's Locked Tomb series. There's so much character and personality in those books. I absolutely love them. And I listened to the second one this year and it was brilliant. So yeah, that's my splurging of just random books that I read that I loved. I could talk about all of them so long, but I won't. So, you know, over to you, Jed. What did you read?
Fantastic. Yeah, I think definitely for me, the number one was Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. It was just so innovative, like unlike any science fiction that I can recall ever reading. And yeah, it just truly felt like something new. Other books that I really enjoyed, I'd have to say probably Guards by Terry Pratchett, which is the 8th book in the Discworld series. It masquerades as this like very funny comedic fantasy, but then it actually like gets under your skin and makes some really profound observations about humanity and how power corrupts
Pratchett.
And everything. Yeah, it's great. I love how Pratchett can do that. Yeah.
I've actually only read one of his books. I read the was it the Postal Service?
Going Postal?
Going Postal, that's it. Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. I don't really get on with comedy in books so much, but yeah, there was something about that one where the little social commentary that's hidden throughout it was
he's
bizarrely on point.
Such a genius, like with his satirization, and the fact that these books came out 40 years ago or whatever, but they're still extremely relevant, unfortunately, in many cases.
Yep.
And then the other one, and I'm not just saying this because Rob was praising Dirt Squid before, but I'd have to say The Lessons Never Learned, second book in your War Eternal trilogy, Rob. That was up there for me. Just like everything about that book.
I had to write twice because the first version was terrible.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think there's a big correlation between the amount of pain an author goes through to write their book and how much I enjoy it. Just makes me feel that it's worth it.
All the pain.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it because I think the first book I quite liked, but there were things with it where I was like, like maybe the pacing's a little bit slow for me in the first half, or there's certain decisions I didn't like. But then with the second book, it was just everything was to me like perfect, and it just paid off all of the setup from that first book perfectly. And the way it ends as well, where you literally like basically end with one of the characters saying something really important, but then stopping like after the first line of saying it.
Cliffhanger. I literally stopped the book mid-conversation, halfway through like a conversation. Because when you do a rapid release, you can kind of get away with that.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, sometimes authors do that with books that are like 10 years between installments. So,
it always draws me back to you won't remember this, Dirk. You're too young. Not Dirk. Jed, you're too young. Always reminds me of Star Trek: The Next Generation. I think it's the end of series 3 where Picard gets assimilated, and then that's it. That's the end of the series, and you have to wait till the next season to come out to find out what happens. It was just such a cliffhanger that it's kind of like, yes, if you can do a cliffhanger like that, you can do a cliffhanger anywhere.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Sure.
It definitely takes a lot of it does take a certain skill to be able to pull those off in a way that does make readers like that comfortable state of annoyance where they really want to get the next volume, but they're not, like pissed off as you at you as an author. So yeah. Final question to wrap up our 2020 review is, what are each of you planning for next year in terms of book releases or other writing related projects?
Who's going first?
It's a secret. Everybody has a secret.
No, okay. So for me, a second Obsidian Path book, She Dreams in Blood, is written. That'll come out in April. Gonna time it for the end of the SPFBO because maybe that makes marketing sense. Fuck, I don't know. Norilska Groans, the co-write with Clayton Snyder. We sent it to a couple of agents. If someone likes it, they'll shop it. If no one sort of digs it, we'll self-publish it in 2021. And I'm also currently writing the very last City of Sacrifice book, which doesn't have a title, but I'm kind of calling The Enemy of Both Sides. My plan is to have that done and released by late 2022. So there'll be 3 books with my name on them.
Sweet.
Fuck yeah, bitches.
Nice.
For me, I've got a year of Mortal Techniques, so I'm releasing 2 new standalone books set in the Mortal Techniques universe, which is the universe that Never Die takes place in. The first one is Pawn's Gambits, coming on the 26th of January. I'm gearing up to that release at the moment. And that one, it's another standalone. They're all standalones in the Mortal Techniques universe, so you can read it without having read Never Die. And so there's that one coming. And then towards the end of the year is the another one which I'm currently calling Spirits of Vengeance. And I'm hoping to release at the end of the year. It's a really long book. Like, I was intended to make it like 100,000 odd words, and it's already at 150. So it's
getting up there.
Getting longer. I'm quite excited though. It's good. But anyway, yeah. So 2021 for me is the year of the mortal techniques.
Awesome.
Nice.
And Pawn's Gambit has an amazing cover as well. So I'm very excited for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Felix has already done the cover for Pawn's Gambit and it looks amazing. And at some point he's going to do the cover for book 3. Well, he hasn't agreed to it yet, but he will if I have to kidnap him and
throw money at him. That usually works.
Work.
Yeah.
Work.
That's one of my most anticipated releases of the year next year. I'd love to Never Die, and I've been hassling you to write that next one for.
It's the only reason it exists. People kept hassling me for a sequel. I was like, it's a standalone, and they're like, no, give us more.
And we were like, no.
But then, like, I signed with my agent, and he put a book out on like submission, and I needed to distract myself, so I wrote a sequel. And it turns out people are liking it. Like early reviews have said it's better than Never Die, which is just like,
Whoa. That's pretty good.
Nice.
It's a high bar to me.
Nice.
I know. Right. Scary because.
Dirk, what books are you planning or projects are you planning to work on next year? Dirk, are
we talking to me now?
Yes. What projects are you planning for next year?
Oh, okay. There's a sort of secret, but I guess not really. It just hasn't been announced yet. I actually have a 3-year, 3-book contract. With I won't say who yet. I'm kind of co-writing it with someone, but I will say that it involves a nautical world and a nautical society with dragon riders, military magic school, pseudo progression fantasy, and our main character is an outcast who rides a kraken.
You got everything,
but that sounds awesome.
It's coming in.
That sounds pretty sick.
Yeah. I just want it to be. I want it to be. It's gonna be fun, super fast moving, enjoyable read. Fun, easy read is what I'm really going for with that. And that's going to be a blast. But I'm also going to pick away at the, I've hinted and talked about a more straight urban fantasy, Jim Butcher meets Jack Reacher kind of series of 4 to 6 books that takes place in the world of Paternus, but 10 years or 20 years prior to the story in the Paternus trilogy.
I want this. Write it.
I will. I will. But I couldn't turn down this other deal. It was just too. I couldn't turn down this other deal. It was too good a deal, and it's too fun of a story and too cool of people to be working with. So I'm really, really excited about that too.
That's awesome. I definitely can't wait to read that. That does sound like it will be a ton of fun as well.
Thanks. I hope so. Fingers crossed.
What are you releasing, Jed? What are you doing?
Well, I've hopefully got a game that's coming out next year, which is exciting. So I've been working on an interactive fiction game for a company called Choice of Games. So these are basically purely text-based, no graphics, no sound effects. And you basically like read a scene, make a decision at the end of the scene, and then that influences what happens next in the story. So like one of your kind of old choose your own adventure books. And it's been really fun to write because it's forced me to think about story in such a different way. Because, you know, the order of the scenes that the players go through is different for everyone. So you've got to kind of make each scene meaningful within themselves, but then you've also got to somehow build an overarching arc to the whole thing. And it's basically a sort of like classic epic fantasy story where you're the ruler of a medieval city that has cool plant magic that is being attacked by this horde of horse warriors. And you're under siege and you have to make decisions to try to stop your city from becoming overruled while also dealing with all of the fractious internal politics and the people who want to take over your throne and a whole bunch of other side quests in there as well. So I'm about 35% of the way through that so far. And yeah, hopefully, I'm not sure when it's going to come out. But ideally, I would say mid to maybe 3/4 of the way through next year, depending on how long the editorial process takes. and it's going to be the longest thing I've written so far because I do all the writing for it and all the coding for it as well. And it's probably going to be about 200,000 words, which is going to be quite a
wow.
You have to have like
that
a
sounds
massive storyboard of like things where they connect to everything else or something.
Yeah, that's some authors do it that way. They make you go through like a fairly rigorous outlining process, which sort of covers a lot of that. But yeah, I suppose more of that stuff just is in my head currently. So it is a bit hard to keep track of it, but it is quite fun once you understand how all the coding and the principles work. That has been pretty cool to get my head around. And
I think isn't Ben Galley working on something kind of like that, Rob? I think he is.
Yeah, he's
cool.
he's mentioned that. I think I'm
Yeah,
not sure
you
if
should
he
talk
is-
to Ben.
Yeah, I'll have to hit him up. Yeah, that sounds
Ben's
great.
awesome. Yeah, we need to get him on the show sometime.
Definitely.
I spoke to him about it last time I did a podcast with him, and he said he'd definitely be up for it. So yeah, we can get Ben on.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I'm keen to have him on as well. And then the other book
So
that will hopefully happen next year is the sequel to the Thunder Heist, Hunt the Fallen Sky, in which the main character, Kef, in book one, she's sort of this loner vigilante pirate person who tries to steal this device that draws energy from lightning. And there's all these references to her old crew that she parted ways with. And in book two, she basically gets back with that thieving crew and has this other mission to go on. So I'm already about a quarter of the way through that before I got the Choice of Games project. And then I sort of put it to the side to work on this game. But hopefully once I get the Choice of Games thing done, I'll be able to get the sequel to that out. Maybe late next year. So yeah, hopefully next year should have a game and another novel, which will be exciting.
Awesome. Now when you say they're fending off a horde of horse warriors, are you talking about warriors who ride horses or horses who are warriors?
like half horses, half warriors.
They
are warriors that ride.
Well, that would be centaurs. That would be
Yes.
centaurs, but you know.
Oh, maybe I should change it to centaur warriors.
Do we have time to ask just real quick? What are you guys really looking forward to next year? Like
question.
what releases are you really excited about?
I can't even remember what's coming out in.
Yeah, I think Adrian Tchaikovsky has a third book in the Children of Time, Children of Ruin series.
Yeah,
Children of Memory, right?
I've seen him talk about that elsewhere. So I mean, for me, that's probably it because I only read maybe 2 or 3 books a year.
Yeah,
it's the only one I'm aware of. Otherwise, I'm kind of head so far up my ass, I haven't a fucking clue what's going on.
I mean, what reminded me of that was that Rob's the sequel to Never Die is one of my definitely highest anticipated. And Graham Austin King is writing a sequel, finally writing the second book, sequel to The Lore of Prometheus. Which
I thought it was the second in the Faithless universe, wasn't it?
And he's working on that too.
Wow. Okay.
Which I'm really, really looking forward to. But I have to say that I'm super looking forward to the sequel to Lore of Prometheus, because I could see that, honestly, I could see that being a 12-book series. Just it's urban fantasy kind of, but it's military fantasy too. So it's military urban fantasy, and it's just got a group of characters and a franchise that I think just could explode. So I'm really, really excited to see that. I'm the third book I never remember the name of series. Joe Abercrombie's next one, After Trouble with Peace.
The Age of Madness trilogy.
Yeah, I never remember the names. Never remember the names of the trilogy. What is it? The Song of Ice and Fire, or Fire and Ice, or I never remember.
Yeah.
Harry Potter's easy.
Yeah, it doesn't get much more straightforward than that, does it?
Yeah, but I never remember the rest of them. And super, super high on the list, way up there. Scott Odin's next one, filling out his Grimnir trilogy. Twilight of the Gods, I was blown away. His book 2 Gathering of Ravens is good, and Twilight of the Gods is insane. And everything that I hear that he's doing with the third one just has me like salivating. So I'm sure there are others I'm not thinking of, but those really stand out right in my mind right now.
I think for me, I'm still working through like books from years ago. I struggle to read like books that are coming out this year or whatever. I know I'm definitely looking forward to the third book in the what's the title of it? Anyway, the third Fond du Lis book, Jade Legacy. I think that's coming out next year, and that's going to be a priority read for me.
Alicia Wansdahl-Burke's third book, I think, is coming out this year.
It's called the I can't remember what it's called. It's like the Coastal Saga or something like that.
Something like that.
Cordurak Saga.
Coradic Sagas. There you go. Goodreads to this rescue.
Yeah, the Coradic Sagas. Yeah. And I'm really looking forward to that too. I love the
Alicia watches this. Really sorry for murdering the pronunciation there.
Yeah, she's gonna kick our asses. And could probably.
Oh, definitely, right.
Yeah. She's gonna be in your neck of the woods here pretty quick. Couple of months.
Yeah, she's moving to England later this year. No, next year.
Oh, nice. She abandoning. Yeah. She's Aussie, isn't she?
Yeah, she's leaving.
Oh, abandoning us.
Getting out.
She's getting married.
To the motherland.
She's getting married.
Yes.
And they're changing their names to it's going to be Graham Wansdahl-Burke Austin King and Alicia Austin King Wansdahl-Burke. So I have that on official.
That'll be nice and easy to fit on the spines of books. Just like a 40-letter surname. Yeah. What about you, Mike? Are you? Oh no, wait. You already answered what you're looking forward to.
I already did that. Leave me alone, damn it.
Sorry, I know we are contractually obliged to only let you speak 100 words per episode, so I apologize for trying to withdraw more than that.
He's actually a cardboard cutout for 80% of each episode.
Yeah, while he's
Jed,
not only talking about other stuff.
Jed, did you say what yours are?
Kind of like Rob, I don't really like. I'm still catching up on so many books from ages past and everything. Like probably the only book I was really like hyped for this year was Rhythm of War, which I started reading and it's quite good. For next year, yeah, definitely Pawn's Gambit. The cover made me like salivate. It is amazing. The typography on it is mint as well. So definitely gonna get that.
A legend between Felix and Sean. They make the best
good combo. Such a good combo. Yeah, so definitely keen for that, and just interested to see how, Rob, you're gonna like make something that retains a lot of the spirit of Never Die while also being presumably about a different set of characters and a totally, different standalone story. So that'll be interesting to see. What else is coming out next year? I'm not sure if there's a third book in the Black Iron Legacy by Gareth Hanrahan coming out. Is that next year?
I think so.
If it's next year, then yeah, I'm very keen for that because I really like that series. It's one of my favorite ones going on at the moment. Just sort of this industrialized, aged, like gods and magic and alchemist and just all of these cool things all merged together. And then I've actually got to get into
in May.
Oh, it's coming out in May. Awesome. Okay, that's way sooner than I was expecting. Very happy to hear that. And then, I got to get into Abercrombie's new trilogy because I'm a massive Abercrombie fan, but I'm still halfway through the audiobook of what's the fifth one in the series?
Fifth one?
No, not the fifth one. Best Served Cold. Best Served Cold. The fourth one in the series. About halfway through the audiobook for that, so got to finish that audiobook before I can get into the second trilogy. But very excited because it seems to me like it's very much a sort of industrializing fantasy world, and I love that kind of slightly more modern fantasy setting. where there is technology that is, you know, as prevalent as the magic, and if not more so. So yeah, definitely that's probably one I'll be getting into. But yeah, I don't really have any massively anticipated new releases, I suppose, apart from those ones. Just want to read lots of books. Doesn't matter when they come out. Awesome. Do we have any other last closing thoughts before we wrap up this episode?
Merry Christmas. Except by the time this comes out, it's probably going to be past. So happy New Year. Welcome to 2021.
Yes. Yeah. Happy Christmas for the past, and Happy New Year for, when will this come out actually? Let me guess.
I just jinx things by saying, you know, Happy New Year. 2021 is definitely going to be better than 2020.
I was just thinking that earlier. I was like, do we say that it's going to be an improvement?
So. God, I hope so.
Yep. Yeah. Thank you also to all of our listeners for making the first 6 months of this podcast a delight. It's been really cool getting your feedback and getting the questions in for our various Q&A episodes, and just getting that engagement and everything. So hope you've enjoyed what is, I guess, the first season of Wizards, Warriors, and Words. And here's to...
We get costume changes for season 2.
Yeah, why
New
not?
haircuts.
New haircuts.
We're coming back. Dirk's going to have like a perm.
I'm going to grow hair. I'm going to grow hair for 2021.
That's your New Year's resolution. Nice. Awesome. All right. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap this one up. Thank you, everybody, for listening / watching, and we will see you in 2021. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for watching Wizards, Warriors, and Words. If you enjoyed this, please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so that we can keep growing this and keep sharing our writing advice with more authors. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time.